Hey everybody, so we're continuing on with angles. Today what we're going to do is we're going to take the four main types of angles that we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks and talk about how angles can be more than one, and we're just going to classify. So today we're going to review the angles we've covered and classify some as many ways as possible. So today will probably be a shorter lesson, but you need to make sure that you are looking at how I classify each angle and that there's more than one sometimes. So that's the big thing you need to look at today is review the types of angles and look at how some angles are more than one type. Okay? So first thing we're going to do, we need to review the four main types of angles. So two angles that are next to each other and share a common side. Those are adjacent angles. So that would be something like this, where you have angle 1 and angle 2, and they're right beside, focus, come on, where you have two angles and they're right beside each other. Those are adjacent, remember. Okay, the next one says two angles across from each other on intersecting lines, they're always congruent. Those are your vertical angles. Remember, they're directly across from each other. So that would be something like this. Angle 1, angle 2. Directly across from each other, and they're always congruent. And congruent means equal. That will be important again tomorrow. Okay, two angles with a sum of 90 degrees. Sum of 90 degrees are complementary. So that would be something like this for a visual, where you have angle 1, angle 2, and together they make a 90-degree angle. And our last type that we're going to talk about and use are two angles with a sum of 180 degrees. Hold on a second, I'm going to saver mode. I need to pause my video and get my charger. Okay, I'm back, computer charged, but supplementary angles that equal 180, here's an example or a visual of those. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through 6 examples, and we're going to classify the angle pair using all names that apply. So what you need to do is they list out the angle types, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through and give a check or an X. So adjacent angles, we're looking right here. Let me go ahead and highlight those at angle 1 and angle 2. Those are the two angles that we're talking about in classifying. So adjacent means they're right beside each other. Are they right beside each other? Yes, they share this side. So they are adjacent. Vertical angles. So the next one is vertical. Are they straight up and down from each other across the vertex or the origin there? No. These two would be vertical and these would be vertical. So they are not congruent. Or not vertical. I gave away my next thing. So they're not vertical. Now, remember, vertical angles are congruent. Those two angles are not vertical, and they're not shown as congruent, so we can't put that they're equal or congruent. Remember, these two angles together. So when I put them together, complementary, do they equal a 90-degree angle? Nope. So they're not complementary. When I put them together, do they make a straight line? Yes, so they're supplementary. So those two angles were both adjacent and supplementary. Okay. Examples 2 is different. So now what they gave us is two angles with the actual measures. So are they side by side? Nope, they're not touching, so they're not adjacent. Are they straight up and down from each other or vertical angles? Well, they're not near each other. I can't answer that. They're not vertical. Well, if I add them together, 35 plus 55 is 90. And which one means 90? Complementary or supplementary? Complementary. So they are complementary. They're not supplementary. And are they congruent? Does 35 equal 55? No, 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 no. If you think 35 equals 55, you've been in your house a little too long. So they are not congruent. So these two angles are only complementary, that's it. Whereas example 1, they were adjacent and supplementary. So example 3, we're talking about angle 1 right here and angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 2. So are they side by side? Do they share a side? Nope, they do not. So they cannot be adjacent. Are they straight up and down from each other? Yes, so they are vertical. Now, I don't know anything about those angle measures, so I can't say if they're complementary or supplementary. It doesn't show me if they make a 90-degree measure or a 180, a straight line. It doesn't show me. So I cannot say without a shadow of a doubt that they're complementary or supplementary. And remember, back in our definition from a minute ago, if your vertical angles, you're congruent. Since these are vertical, they have to be equal. So this pair of angles are vertical and congruent. Move on to question 4. So I'm looking at, or we are looking at angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 2. So first thing is adjacent. Do they share a side? If yes, then they're actually adjacent. So do they share a side? They do. So they are adjacent. Are they straight up and down or diagonal from each other? Nope. So they are not vertical. When we put these together, do they make a right angle or a straight line? Do those two angles make a right angle or a straight line? You answered no, you're correct. So since they don't make a right angle or a straight line, they can't be complementary or supplementary. And then I don't know if they're congruent. They're not vertical, so I can't assume it. And then they didn't show me they were congruent. So they are just adjacent. Okay? Moving on to question 5. We're looking at measure 1 and measure 2, or angle 2. So adjacent means they're side by side. So are those two angles side by side? Yep, so they are adjacent. Vertical means diagonal, straight across from each other, across from each other in the middle. They're not across from each other, so they're not vertical. Okay. Do those two make 90 degrees? Because complementary angles make 90-degree measures. If you said yes, make sure you can back it up. If you say no, then say why you think no. So remember, 90 degrees is a right angle. This whole thing is 180. Well, if this side's 90, whole thing's 180, this side has to be 90. So 1 and 2 are indeed complementary because they do make 90 degrees. They're not supplementary. I don't know if they're congruent or not because they're not shown and they're not vertical, so I can't assume it. So these angles right here are adjacent and complementary. That's the two classifications they get. Last one. Okay, so we're looking at angle 2 and we're looking at angle 1. So adjacent means side by side, they're touching, they share a side. Is that true? No. So they are not adjacent. Vertical means directly across from each other, diagonal, straight up and down. Are these across from each other? Yes, so they're vertical. Remember from our definition, vertical angles are always congruent. So that means that those two are equal. This shows right here that this is a right angle. Right angles are how many degrees? 90. So if this is 90 and they are vertical, which means they are congruent, this is 90. Okay, so I actually know the measures of both of those, of 1 and 2. So if this is 90 and this is 90, together they make 180. What type of angles have a sum of 180 degrees? Supplementary. They're not complementary, they're supplementary. So number 6, you have vertical, supplementary, and congruent. So you have a lot of classifications there, more than one. So what you're going to do for your homework is you let it focus. You are going to do these 6 problems, all 6. If you're at home, then without internet, you're going to take a picture of your work on lined paper, upload it to the zip drive. If you're home with internet, you're going to go to Assessments and do this. Okay? So, home with no internet, take a picture, put it on zip drive. If you are at home with internet, Assessments. Make sure you ask me questions if you are not understanding. Okay? So, make sure you email me, not understanding, talk to a friend, your parents, or whatever. Don't click that show answer unless you talk to me because you don't want points taken off. But, yep, I'm here if you have any questions. Bye, guys.